So it's over to me, Ray.
That for the NFRAM meeting. I don't know of, I don't, except for the burned jewelry, which I forgot to get her address. I don't know of any others, so let me know if I need to do any others.
Would you say?
She's not aware of any others at this time.
Okay,
But once we talked about donations, I'm sure we'll have a new list.
okay, very good. Marshall Fire Remembrance, over to Dalton. All right, very good. RFI log, that would be to Maureen. I don't know if she talked with you at all about that, Doug.
Oh, yes. Are there any entries from the group? Has anyone contacted you?
No.
Nope.
Oh, I see. Well, Larry, I have not entered the inquiry from Deb. She did. JG said she forwarded the picture scans to you. Mary, have you made a decision yet?
Deb Autry, remember she emailed the group. I don't know, I can't remember between Karen, Mary, and Larry who was gonna reply to her about scanning those original family photos. The photos were not going to be donated. They were just available for scanning. Do Mary, Karen, or Larry, have any of you responded to her?
I've been corresponding with Deb.
Okay.
Okay, and hold on a minute, just a second. Okay, she wasn't able to come to our museum opening with them, and then she wasn't able to come to the work session. And she said she would let me know when she was available. She lives in Franktown. So that's where we are with those photos. She's to let me know when she's available. I said, it doesn't have to be a museum opening time and it doesn't have to be a work session. If she would let me know when she's available to come up, we will meet her. Somebody will be available.
Okay.
And so I'm just waiting.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that's good to know. Thanks for doing that, Karen.
Well, that's good. Then I'll note that in the entry. Yeah.
Good? Are we good?
Mhm.
Awesome.
Okay, donors, any?
I have a update for Lions Club. They have, out of the total amount of funding that they were, had set aside for the Museum and Historic Commission, there's a little bit left over, and they would like to either purchase some trees for Asti Park. And I was thinking that newly grassed area just to the east of the museum could be a cute little area. Or, I'm not really sure, but I think it's an or, replacing the sign that was burned, that identified the park and the museum. We still have kind of that old timey one, but there was another sign that we lost. And if they did the sign replacement, we would have a little placard underneath it that identified them as the group replacing it. So I think maybe some feedback from you would be great, and I could share that with Jean. Is there a preference? If it's one or the other, do you have a preference?
I'm wondering about, the tree idea near their bench,
Mhm.
so that eventually the tree, as it grew, would be, make their bench area just that much nicer.
Mhm. It definitely could start there. I think there would be enough funding for 4 to 6 trees.
Oh. Okay, thank you.
But I think that's a great idea, Mary.
I like Mary's idea, and I like
Yeah.
in front of the museum, maybe some decorative trees like flower and crabapple trees or something. It
Mhm.
wouldn't get too big.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think if they did trees, yeah.
Also, looking down the road a little bit too, is that the Miners Memorial looks kind of alone out there by itself, and there might be, I've been thinking about having some trees around that,
Mhm.
or in background
Mhm.
as well, but
So there's that, if you had to say one or the other, I mean, if it's both, it would be great, but if it had to be one or the other, are you saying trees? Or sign? I said trees.
Trees.
Tree.
Mine likes trees.
Okay,
Trees feel more inviting.
yeah, okay, I can let her know, and then, Daryl McCool and I have been in contact about the work for the screens, and she's working on it, was hoping to come today to give an update, and she just really had a very, very busy week at work, and she apologizes for not being able to be here, but she's on it, and she's hoping to be here next month for an update. And then, but I will work with her between then and now to hopefully get to the finish line on this. That's all I've got for Lions,
okay.
but we do have recent donations.
Rosie was wonderful.
Well, that's
For the
good.
record.
Yes.
We did have a visitor that day, didn't we, to
Yeah.
make some donations?
Yeah, so we need to get a note off to her, Mary.
Yes, I'll need that address, JG.
Okay, however, wonderful Rosie is, she has not completed her donation form, so.
I was gonna say her daughter did do for her like I did for mine.
Really? Well, she says she wants to add some backstory.
These
She
kids,
has been
huh?
given a hard copy and an electronic copy, so. Yeah, but the chamber pot and the large frame photo is in the basement without the donation form.
So JG, I would suggest you do the basic form and we update it when she finishes.
Okay. I can do that.
There we go.
I'm getting on a mission for St. Louisville stuff to start.
Inspired?
Yes.
Yikes, look out, everybody.
So the only other thing I just wanted to add was she, after looking through ASTI and Grasso, she has a lot more things that I just told her to take pictures, just the same thing I tell anybody else. Take pictures, send them for donation subcommittee to look at for consideration.
I have some donor stuff to do.
Okay. Karen has some donor stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we have 5 outstanding donations that I'm still working on, and I'm having trouble getting people to get back to me. The first one was that man named Robin who had the milk bottles. I think I had told him that we would take the milk bottles, and he was the man that was in Louisiana on his way back to Colorado. And he said he would get back to me when he got back to Colorado, and I haven't heard from him.
Okay.
Okay, that's the first one. The next one was David Thomason, who had the antique radio that I think Mary wanted to take for Grasso. And the last I heard from him, he said, let me know where and when, or he said, do you want me to bring it over? And I said, yes. And he said, let me know where and when. And I got back to him and I said, you need to let me know when you're available. I said, we will meet you at the museum whenever you can bring it over. Okay, that was a month and a half ago, and I keep saying, do you know when you're going to bring it yet? And I don't hear back from him. So I'm not sure where we stand with that antique radio. The next one is Ellie McKinley she's the 90-year-old lady from Broomfield. She has children's books to give us, but she's on vacation in Mexico right now.
Good for her.
Yes, she'll call me when she gets back. Okay, and then Deb Autry, we already talked about her. Catherine Barth, I still have not heard back from her on the dimensions of the teacher's desk.
Okay.
I think we had decided we did not want the children's desks because we don't have room for them. And I don't think we want to rotate those out of the basement, but that's up to everyone to decide. But the dimensions of the teacher's desk, we want to know to see if it would fit in ASTI and we could put some displays on there. So I'm waiting to hear from her. So those are my outstanding donations that I'm still working on. That's it.
Okay, thanks for that update. We could put school desks in the superior storage unit. Wouldn't save us going up and down steps. But I agree. Maybe no more.
In fact, any large thing like that, that's probably a really good idea, Larry. Any large thing we want to rotate in and out.
I think after a while, they all look like the same desks, so I don't know if we need any extra ones or not.
Yeah. I think that's a good point too. I think we don't need to rush out and get any desks.
Could someone please pass Maureen a brownie?
Oh,
Thank you.
that's made my day.
Can we take a bite out of it first?
Just an aside, as we're pausing, at some point, we are gonna have to revise that small sign in front of the museum, since it's outdated, and then also, we had that bigger sign that faced, Marshall Road. And I think that's what JG was referring to earlier, so that's something down the road that we should work on. Okay, so in the debriefing department, April 5th opening, the reactions from people who were working that day?
We were very busy at ASTI. I was only there in the afternoon, but I had planned to go work in the basement and I never got to the basement because we had so many visitors.
Mhm.
That's not a bad thing. That's a
No, it's
wonderful
not.
thing.
No, that's right.
It's great to hear.
Mary, want to report on Grasso?
I think we had 4. So I think it will probably always be less. But that's okay. And then when we get the barn open, we'll have more to really show off as well.
I think between, the ones that don't get counted because of the busyness, we probably was up around 20 maybe for the two buildings.
Mm.
Yes, I think so.
Well, I
And,
counted everybody that came in the afternoon, but it did some of them only signed, when they signed the guest book, they only signed for the couple or whatever, so it was only one person, so
Mhm.
they didn't jive.
Well, I think we're getting pretty good turnout, and I think part of it is the publicity. The communication department put out that email like on Friday, I think it was, right before, and I think we're seeing some good effects there. Yeah, that was a good day. And then we had the work session on April 11th. I just want to report or react on that.
It was good. We did, Jill and Susan did technical work. And, I think it'll be a slow process to get everything out. But I'll sort of jump down to the ANFRAM meeting. That they really stressed getting things into archival boxes and not just in cardboard boxes that put out stuff. So maybe we need to, because we've got quite a few archival boxes that JG had already purchased. I think we need to get things unloaded into those and labeled. Maybe make that a focus.
We were mentioning as we were walking around the meeting, I'd like to volunteer to do a work week. Because a work week instead of a work day, simply
Okay.
because looking what they had, I think we get started and we go back to do it again and it's like, wait, where were we? What were we doing? And just to really get it set up.
Yeah,
So that
I'm-
it's easy to feed in.
Yeah, good.
So.
I like that, Jill. Thank you.
Mhm. And it just,
Yeah.
I was looking at how they were doing it and the continuity they had. And they would tell you they still have so far to go, and I'm like, but it just screamed opportunity.
Mm.
And they have the personnel too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to propose we just maybe make that middle of the month work session, just a regular thing, just to be,
And like I said, if 2 of us can go in without having to declare it and just pick a week that works,
Yeah.
I'm happy to spearhead that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you don't need me for that. You can just
Okay.
arrange it yourselves.
Okay.
The only thing I do want to mention, if, with 2 museums, especially Asti with the front and back door, Sean did find that the front door was, open. Not locked. So please just try to.
it's closed but not locked.
Work session. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
The front door that I think of as the back door.
The maple door was,
I don't think we locked any doors because the workers were still going in and out.
That's right, that's right.
So,
We
for the
didn't,
gutters
it's not
they
right.
were maneuvering ladders and going in and out, so we.
in the museum?
They had the door open and were going in and out, yeah, so
Oh,
we
the
didn't
gutter
lock
guys?
anything that day.
Yeah, so,
I'll be completely candid, so we may need to
yeah.
keep tabs on some
And
of
then
that
you
as
thought
well.
people were coming back or something when they left.
Mhm.
Oh, they shouldn't have been inside though. They were
They
doing
were inside.
gutters.
Yeah, they were inside. Just inside the doorway, like lining up things, you know.
The governor guys?
Interesting.
Now, there was
Oh, guys.
a problem with that back door,
Yeah,
where it would, it's back now to where when it closes, even in, it locks, so people on the outside can't get in.
There's a way to move that button on the back. so
Yeah.
it'll Stay unlocked, but the person has to think of that.
Okay,
To
Was
lock
that
it.
what was wrong with it? It was.
Got it.
Yeah, Sean changed out the doorknob for that, so it can be manually locked. Cause otherwise it was automatically locked.
Yes.
Is that what you're referring
Yes.
to?
Yeah, but then it got stuck, didn't it? Are you talking about the north door, the one that you took apart?
Oh, we were talking about the door handle, the one I took apart was the screen door
Right,
handle, so.
okay.
That one.
Which
Yeah, that
needs to
was
be
faulty.
replaced, yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. Okay, so a successful workday. Mary started talking about N-Fram, so Jill and Susan and Mary and I went to the Association of North Metro
Range.
Front Range Museums meeting, which is getting resurrected, and it was held at Louisville on last Monday. And, a presentation by, Chelsea from Lafayette Museum and what was it Hadley, I think, from
Hadley.
Louisville Museum. And so any of you other participants want to share what you got out of the, ANFAM meeting?
They definitely recommended, for those of you who haven't been in yet, we did get that lovely older dress put on a mannequin up in the bedroom at Rusty. And it needs ironing, but they suggested we get hold of a professional conservator to work with it. So, but that'll be nice. So we can get some recommendations and carry on with that. But it's nice to have it on view instead of hiding in the basement.
Mary, do they have a list of conservators that they'd be able to share?
I think we can get it. I don't think they gave one at the meeting. But
I bet they do though.
I'm sure they do.
They definitely said don't iron it up yourself.
Yeah, which we weren't about to, but that's the first thing you do when you look at it. You think, oh, it's all rumpled. But
And then there was a lot of emphasis, what Mary said, on archival boxes and getting things there. Something they did that I liked, I don't think it stood out for Susan, Larry, or Mary, was from their ascension log. It's all tracked to the boxes, which are tracked to the shelf, which are tracked to the building. So they basically had a system of what storage room it was in what shelf, and so shelves got grouped together with collections.
That's great.
And that was the idea of this work week of let's get that set up and going so it's easy to pull in and out. But I think it's going to take more than 2 hours of staring at it to get started. So,
and backing up a little, Jill, to our work session,
Yeah.
because you and Susan said we really need to get all of Karen's hard work into the cloud or something. So we've got
yeah, yeah. And I think we can start as simple as just emailing it to the group, the file, because then it's all on our email repository.
Yeah, I need to talk to you about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm happy to help.
We need a phone conversation. Okay.
You just want me to, yeah, or I can stop by sometime in the next day or two. Whatever's easier.
I think maybe when everything is accounted for.
Yeah.
And things slow down a little bit, then we could look into catalog it.
Yeah, but I think right now, just having a backup of the file.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that can be as simple as if you email it to me, it's on my email repository. And if it goes to 2 or 3 of us,
It exists.
it exists.
It really,
outside of a hard drive.
if you are working down there in the basement, it really only works to have 2 people at a time. So, and Catherine and I were working on that. And then we couldn't get together on a time when we were both available. Okay, and I'm having a seeing problem right now, so I haven't been able to work down there. Okay?
Yeah.
So, I'll get back with you,
Okay.
and Susan.
Also, from my perspective, the museum has the diorama that one of the volunteers made of downtown Louisville. He's got actually 2 dioramas. One, the big one, all scale model of the downtown Louisville in like 1920 or something like that. And so I got the idea that maybe he could reproduce our industrial mine camp diagram that burned up in the fire, so.
That would be great.
Yeah,
Do
so-
we know if he's like still around and everything?
yeah, I asked, he lives in Longmont,
Okay.
yeah, Mr. Diltitz. Can't remember his first name right now.
Hmm.
So it was a good meeting on Monday, for sure. Had the, excuse me. Had the Heritage Roundtable meeting yesterday, and it was all pretty much, well, all was in fact dedicated to the May 12th Historic Preservation Awards meeting. And the Boulder County Courthouse got landmarked as a national landmark, and the
Oh, great.
two people who worked on that project are getting square nails. And I have trouble catching her name, but her maiden name is Long. And they had the Long's Gardens in North Boulder, the Iris Garden, so, and they've done everything they can to keep that from getting developed into a housing development, so, they're the square nail people. And, otherwise, I think that's probably all that you all need to know, except, it sounds like we're gonna participate in the, refreshment department, huh?
Yes.
Did you? I was gonna ask you. So, did you talk?
No, I haven't.
Okay,
I haven't, done that yet.
okay, so
Is that?
everyone is welcome to go.
Is there a cost to that we need to vote on?
But I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
A cost? An approximate cost for the refreshments?
A little over 100.
Okay, we would need to vote.
So, Larry and I we're willing to split it if we don't want to take it out of our budget.
You have budget,
Okay.
you just need to vote. I'll be right back.
Yeah, where that ended up was, other years, people were bringing more and more things to that Square Nail Award. But then over the years, it's kind of declined, and it's right in the middle of dinner, and we thought they ought to have something more substantial than heavy hors d'oeuvres. So last year, I brought little sandwiches for everybody. I think I brought 36 of them. And this year I asked Larry if he wanted to share that with me. And he said yes, but we need to talk about whether we want to take it out of our budget, or Larry and I are willing to just split it between us.
When is it happening again?
May 12th,
May 12th.
the Monday after Mother's Day.
And these were sandwiches out of Jersey Mike's, and then they cut them into the little smaller, so they got several of them out of one big one.
Yeah, everybody liked them last year.
I brought it up yesterday, they were very enthused
Yeah,
about having it come back again this year, not the same ones as last year, of course. But,
I think we got 36, and I don't know how many we want to get this year, but that's,
and a year ago, before our current price rise, it was around $100.
So couldn't we get a sandwich wrap tray or two from Costco for half the cost?
Say again?
Costco does the party trays of all sandwiches, and I think they're about $40 or $50.
Yeah.
And they tend to be pretty good.
Then you don't have to worry.
I mean, there's lots of places you
Yeah.
can go.
I think it'd be nice. I think it'd be nice if Superior funded that. It's actually not a big expense, and yeah, so I'm all for us funding it out of our budget.
Me too. Do we need to vote on that?
How much are you requesting?
How much are we requesting?
I'm sorry, what?
How much are you requesting? Money? cost?
I'm not sure yet, somewhere between 100 and 125 probably.
So I move that, we approve up to $125 for, Superior to support refreshments for this event.
I'll second.
Remove receipts.
Do we have to vote?
You have to vote.
Oh, don't, I didn't hear that. I see it up there, but I didn't hear it, so. So it's seconded by Dalton, discussion.
Let's do it.
Just to clear things up, the, Heritage Roundtable is a very, cooperative group. There's no chief executive, no one's in charge, no one's president, there's no budget, so people, Boulder County, City of Boulder, for example, have in the past donated, food and it's all hors d'oeuvre type things. And, also flowers, like, someone went around and get leftover flowers from Mother's Day from Whole Foods, for example, and put out some flowers and that sort of thing. So it's not like there's another budget that we'd be competing with or supplementing here. So any other discussion?
And you said this is the, Square Nail
Yeah.
event?
There's 4 or 5 awards in there, and
Yeah.
the Square Nail for historic preservation is one of them.
And over the years, members of our commission have received.
Yeah, and this year we just will prove we're not sore losers.
You gotta play to win, Scott.
Ooh, hey,
Here comes Big Blue. Huh? So, Doug, is Maureen the prize? Of
Yes,
the,
Maureen's apprised and she votes yes.
Okay. So all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, the motion passes then. Very good. Okay, discussion items. Publicity and preparation for the May 3rd Historic Walk. So you know, every year we have to get a permit from Boulder County Open Space to go out in there and secured that, so that's good. And so that's May 3rd. Typically, we do May 2nd, we put out the stakes.
I'm happy to help put out stakes again. I believe I'm around on May 2nd and 3rd. So.
Yep, I should be around, happy to help too.
And of course, we're having a work session that day to help
JG,
with
we
that.
need to make sure our work session extends long enough to cover putting out stakes with 3 of us out there.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that's a good
I think
point.
we just put a start time,
Okay,
and if you go beyond it, it's okay.
perfect.
So that'll come up in the commission corner, and I suspect we'll get well, it's already in the Recreation Department newsletter, I think. Yeah, so it's already getting some of the publicity.
now, has there been anything done with that little trail that goes up through there? You know, it's just 2 ruts.
Nope,
Oh, okay.
it's all the same, and also, even though I've been nagging Boulder County that it hasn't, as far as I know, there's been no work done on the fan house either, you know, which the fence needs to be replaced and the fan house needs to be well, protected from vandals as much as possible.
And perhaps one of the things that they could push maybe is to do something with that trail so it's easier for people to walk, instead of having to walk in those ruts, to have a nice level.
Well, we're working on them for the trail system eventually with Leslie Clark's stayed on that topic with them. So it's just a matter of time.
There's
Out there.
one,
This doesn't happen fast.
No, nothing happens fast.
you know, Boulder County's in favor of it, but it just hasn't happened yet.
Also want to mention, Larry's aware, but just so everyone else is aware, Arts and History is paying for a videographer to film, the walk and the tour notes, and the focus will be on Larry and or whoever is helping, not so much on the people attending. It's really more for our archiving. So, is anyone helping Larry? Are you doing it on your own, or is anyone assisting you?
Well, Mary and Wally usually talk at, Grasso,
Okay,
and you're welcome to do
Are we
that.
gonna be able to have anything at Grasso, given all the stuff that's there?
maybe just meet in the front.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah, we've got it set up to meet at Grasso, for participants to meet at Grasso Park, but
I
that's,
think you can give a good overview, even if people can't walk up to the buildings or because of the construction.
yeah, I think so.
I think you can still get to the buildings through the actual park, it's just the
Mhm.
edges that are
Yeah,
blocked.
Yeah.
that's true too. We still open the barn. Perhaps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
As long as there isn't any raccoons laying there.
Well, I was gonna say, do we need
Yeah.
to do a vermin and bug check?
It's on my
Perfect.
update, yeah. So I'll let the videographer know that, and he would love to meet with you ahead of time, Larry, just to meet you and to maybe go over any pointers ahead of time.
Tell him to be with my agent.
Okay. I'll do
I
that.
didn't know your agent took calls. I never see her, I get her lemon cake occasionally.
I know, and still gets my 10% too, so. Okay, well, I think, oh, and then we'll print up the, flyer, reprint the flyer, update and reprint the flyer that goes along with the tour, so. Okay, next item is expense for custom wood shelving and sink lowering at Astor Museum. So over to JG for the update.
So David, I know we had two estimates so far, one, a handyman that Karen helped us with and one that Mary helped us with. Larry had one as well, and he is specifically a woodworker. So he would be able to make the custom shelf.
Now you're talking just the shelves above the sink, right?
Correct.
Not the shelving in the other two rooms?
Correct.
Okay,
So it's a two-part job. One is creating a shelving unit very, very close to the photo that Mary showed us that is in Lakewood, and it's really pretty neat. It just has some unique cuts and looks a little bit more period appropriate. And then also lowering, doing a little bit of woodworking to the legs of the sink to bring it down to a little lower level. And I think, and that includes painting, that's everything. And I think he was right around, I'm sorry, I should have been better prepared. It's about $850.
And that was the shelf and the sink?
Correct.
Okay.
So the building,
It's at the end, not
the
at all.
custom build and installation of the shelving, and then taking the legs down, sanding, repainting.
And the existing legs, remind me, are the reason the sink is right now too high, is the sink was set to fit the legs and,
It's like a whole base,
yeah.
and it's really hard to take anything off of the top of the base,
Yeah.
easier to do it from the bottom of the legs, so just to support that heavy sink. So that was sort of the,
Yeah, I think at the time, we didn't want to do anything with the wainscoting as far as cutting it up, notching it.
but I think
And,
he,
after the sink was hung, it's like, whoops, maybe we should have, so. I mean, that's another part of
yeah.
where we're at.
Oh, thank you, Wally. Yeah, that's right. That's part of it too, is cutting into the wainscoting and the trim to get,
The chair rail, really.
yeah, to make it so that the sink would be flush to the wall. Thank you. I forgot.
Personally, I think the sink is the perfect height.
some of those little short women back in those days that had to stand on a box.
My mom's not quite 5 foot either.
I could.
Well, is there a motion to, finance the construction of the shelves and lowering of the sink?
I'll make a motion to finance that and lower in the sink.
Up to 850.
Yes.
Well, maybe give it just a tiny
Well-
bit more, just in case.
Yeah, add, what do you want to add? Maybe up to 1,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, just in case. Cause I think what we could do out of that budget is get the new faucet heads and get those put on
Yes,
while the sink is off.
yes.
Yes.
Otherwise you can't put them on.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 1,000 would be a lot better, I think, than 850. And if they don't use that much, fine.
I'll
I'm gonna ask you
second
to
that.
I'm gonna ask you to repeat the motion.
I forgot what I said. I make a motion to do $1,000 or up to $1,000 to rehang the sink and cut the stand down to fit
Eggshell.
and shelves.
There's a second to Wally's motion.
I'll second it.
Oh,
Let's wait for Maureen to make sure she's aware.
I think Karen got the second on that one.
I do, and I still think it's a bit high. Do we have a second opinion?
We have 3,
Okay.
but the other 2 were not woodworkers, so we would have to buy fabricated. Probably wouldn't look as,
No, I would suggest we definitely go with the woodworker. I mean, that's my opinion.
I think it'll look
Yes.
more authentic.
Oh, yeah, who are you going with?
David, got his last name now. It starts with a V, I think.
David B.
Have we had him before?
No,
Yeah, we haven't had anyone, right?
No.
No.
3 estimates.
Well, we had the guy that put the sink in.
We did, but he was not a woodworker either. Well, he was on a minor level. I don't think he would have been able to build those.
Well, building custom shelves, not in.
Honestly, moving and dealing with that sinks a lot, I think.
Yeah.
Well, they're doing more of their shirt, for the stuff. Yeah, for the stuff. Yeah.
It's a big job.
I think you got my spell.
Can we set a prefab show? I have prefab show.
I think that's what the group does not want.
Oh, you know.
Custom made.
Yeah. I see.
Meantime, is there further discussion?
I thought this was the discussion.
Yeah. That's why I said further. You need more?
Good settle.
Sorry, yeah.
See?
So we'll call for the vote, then all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Is
Anyone,
she good?
is there anyone opposed? Is Doug coming in too, though?
Yeah, I'm just, it's too, in real time, I can't keep her updated, so thank you to Jill for that. I can give her notes along the way, but when we get into these
Maureen says
discussions, I
yes.
can't keep, the technology doesn't go through fast enough.
Yes, we're good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jill.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Doug.
So JT, should I let my contact know that someone else has the job? Or just the
Yes.
town or?
So
Yeah.
Mary, I would wait until he accepts the job. Because if
Okay.
he's had a change, we don't want to have to
Ah.
restart.
Burn our bridge.
So get the one to accept and then decline, then let the other two know we're declining.
Okay.
Good thought, Jill. Thank you.
Okay, now we have the ASTI trifold brochure design review and the possible printing and cost, and Maureen and Dalton have been carrying the ball on this project, so we'll turn it over to them.
Yep, so thank you, Larry. Yeah, we've been working away on this brochure for about 2 months now. We have pretty much a finalized version. I know Maureen has mentioned she had some edits she wants to make as far as the content goes. But basically this was the first of potentially some more brochures that we might want to do. Wanted to get everyone's input as far as design goes, information goes, and then potentially a vote on if we wanted to print this out or not. I'm personally of the mindset, just bearing in mind the town's initiatives to reduce paper usage. If we did decide to print this, I thought it should be a very limited print run and maybe focus on laminating it and having them just stay within ASTI Park and or Grasso Bungalows, so people would just have them to review there. And if we wanted to, we could have a QR code that maybe brings them to a digital version of this that they can have on their computer or on their smartphone. So that's kind of the items right now. Just wanted to gauge everyone's input and thought with this.
Dalton, can we look to get a QR code on the next round? I mean, I assume you'd have to work with JG in the town to get a link to go with the QR code, or?
Yeah, so we would need to create a QR code. I thought we could easily put one on the back of the brochure, or we could have one just available to display if we didn't want to put it on the brochure itself, nearby where we'd actually have them located. And that could potentially take people to the town's history and art webpage.
Other than that, I reviewed it. I like the content. I'm fine with the layout, and I only had one technical edit that maybe is already in Maureen's set of edits. The discussion of the park and the sentence on it being used for schools. So that middle section, middle paragraph, the sentence about school use dates is redundant to the previous discussion of school. And I think it's kind of unnecessary in that paragraph, but that's a pretty minor comment.
And Dalton, I sent you my updates to add the address.
Yep. Yeah,
And
so
museum open hours, so depending on where it goes and when it's
Yep.
seen.
And the typo.
Yep.
yeah.
Yes, do you see this typo right here?
Yep.
And then there's an extra space right here, right there.
I have the document on Canva open right now, so I'm making those changes now.
Thank you both for your work on this.
Yeah, looks good.
I guess the question is what format it's gonna take from here and how, because we have to vote on financing.
A potential cost, I know that Maureen had looked into printing 500 to the tune of $700 or $800, and I think. Dalton, I don't know where things are with that.
Yeah, so Maureen had gathered some figures as far as printing goes for a 500 issue run of this. And again, she did bring up a figure that was around $700. Personally, I would kind of be disinclined to pursue that route just because one of the costs of that's a very high printing cost figure. And two, Superior has a lot of initiatives to try to reduce the overall paper usage in general. So I think if we were to print some of these, we could start maybe with a limited run. I even thought maybe as small as 10. just to have them, and then we could do some laminated copies just to have at the museum spaces.
The town have printers? I mean, and you print it?
Regular,
Yeah, but.
we could do regular paper.
But I
Or
think,
card stuff.
I liked Dalton's idea of having it laminated, having a QR code and doing regular recycled paper printout that are in a couple locations where we print them on demand and have a few, but I'm in agreement with Dalton on the
zero waste.
zero waste. Mhm.
Me too. I also like the idea of print and go.
Yeah,
I mean, print as you go, I mean.
yeah, print as you go on the local office printer. Mhm.
And
Yeah.
we'll have our laminator.
We have our we have it. JG, turn that around.
Yeah, so, yes, no, I think I really agree with everybody
Yeah.
else.
And I
Have the
think Maureen's
laminated copies, people
ready
read.
to speak.
Okay, Maureen.
Yeah.
Go.
Oh, just a minute.
No.
Let me see what he says here.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to explain that quote I got. It was on the high side because it was general. We didn't have the specific layout we have now. I've done calculations and I know we can bring it way down. We could bring it down to as low as 300. Dalton saved us 200 in labor. He did a professional design. And if we bring the print run down to 250, that reduces cost. The quality of the paper we use is a factor, but we need to take into account that old black and white photo. It might influence the paper quality we choose. So we have 4 in 4 color and the 1 black and white. I can tighten up the text as Scott asked. I know what he means about the redundancy. We mention the public schools in the first paragraph on the part, and then we mention it on the paragraph early schools to the left of the picture, so I can type that up. You don't need it, but you do need to give a sort of long caption to explain the picture. I recommend you leave out things that we dated. If you talk about the address of the museum, you confuse people. The museum's on Maple, but the park is on West Cold Creek Drive. I've had people comment that's confusing, and I wouldn't print up ours because they might change. Of course, if we go with only 250 copies, they're not going to last you. If you have them at the historic walk and say, have them for our dinner with city council, and then take them to the booth and have them at the museum open house, then you'll run out of 250. That's where the laminates with the QR codes come in. They might help things last, but we don't have any experience with QR codes.
Easy. If JG, does the front desk here deal in any kind of brochures or materials?
Not really. I mean, there's some paper things at that little table at the community where that kind of bulletin boardish thing is. There's some, but we don't print anything for handout, no.
I was just wondering if we had anywhere else that uses trifolds where it'd be useful to get more people from a location like this to the museums if we did a print run.
Well, it sounds like we have some, a little bit more editing to do on that, on this document.
I do think, did I miss something? Will there be photo credits?
Yeah, we can have photo credits too for all these.
I think that would be good to mention, that this is from ASCII, this is Ted asked, well, I think it's kind of clear on that one, but, just, yeah. And they can be embedded in the image themselves if you don't want to go into the text body.
Should we put a town copyright on it as well?
That's not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea,
And a logo.
just because we don't know, yeah.
Yeah, we don't know how people may misuse our material.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Dalton, I can get you a logo. I think when this is finalized, I should probably run it by comms, regardless if it's
Okay.
professionally printed or not. Because I do think at some point, this could go on the website too. And I think if it has that completed and approved
Well,
everything, then we'd be good.
ideally, that's what the QR code would do, is link to the location.
Yeah.
of the website.
So maybe we could add the logo to the front, maybe somewhere above the house or something.
Yeah.
I don't
Just
know.
like right in the corner.
I'll send you what we have. I think we have white, black, and that burgundy
Okay,
and gray.
But
perfect.
if the town is able to identify a holding place on the town website and a link, even if the thing's not available, that like an under construction location or anything like that, or a holding location, then Dalton would be able to have a link
Mhm.
to associate with the QR code and create a
Yeah,
QR
it's
code.
generating QR codes is a
Super
30-second.
easy,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy. I've done that many times.
How do you draw all those little things?
Carefully.
Yeah, we just have to find a place on the arts and history page.
Use Lego.
Yes, splatter. Well, okay, so then I guess where we are is we need to determine quantity and,
Well, if we want to do a formal print run or I'm gonna call it a local print run.
Can I just ask then about the actual estimate for the print run? Is that like with a regular 4-color process printer?
I think that's what she said, yeah.
Okay. Versus like an Instaprint type of, Minuteman or whatever they're called nowadays.
I think that quote came from Morel Printing, and so.
So that's a 4-color press.
That's,
Yeah.
I saw the quote, and indeed it was Morel, regular 4-color printing.
At a quantity of 250, you might as well print up like 3,000 if you're gonna bother to put it on there at all. But that's my opinion. I mean, it would certainly look beautiful, but it's possible that we could find a source for like a really high quality color
I mean,
Xerox type run.
people take these, they read them, and they throw them away.
Yeah.
And this is disposable.
Yeah.
And personally, I see a $0 investment required here.
I just,
I mean, as affiliated as I am and as much as I care, I'll save the document in my historic file. It's going in my recycle bin. And I've got to be candid with that. I wouldn't even take it, much less keep it if I was handed where I couldn't dispose of it.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the quality and the information. It's purely the use of documents.
Yeah, these days, if I'm taking it, it's because there's not a link, and if we use the QR code, more people, we can encourage them to use the QR code.
And if I did take it, I would take a photo, store the photo, and I wouldn't take the paper.
Mhm.
sorry, may I read it? May I read a note I have here from Maureen?
Sure.
It says, come to the booth and have them at the museum open house, then you'll run out of 250. That's where the laminate and the QR codes come in. They might help things less, but we don't have any experience with QR codes paper. Don't print anything like a little bit more, it will be that you would be good copyright as well. I think I should probably run it regardless if it professionally printed or not, because at some point it could go on the website, it completed, approved, maybe somewhere above the house or something under construction, the QR code we want to print. Sorry, that's sort of verbatim.
So
But
I think
That's okay.
I'm gonna move
thoughts.
that we vote on whether or not to professionally print or locally print the trifold. So that we have direction then on the rest of it. Do I have a second for that?
Well,
Oh,
Maria-
I was gonna get into discussion then, so.
okay.
I'll second it. So we can go for
She may
discussion.
not be aware of the
Yeah.
motion though.
Okay,
Yeah,
did she,
well, now it's, well, Doug's probably,
oh, did you get it?
I'm sending her now. Jill, maybe you should, because again, my
Yes,
go through slow.
okay.
Maybe for putting oil on the waters, we could put this as a trial. And then if we're finding we need to print X number later, you know, some hundreds, that option would still be available. But we could
Well-
still have the trial of the almost paperless
Yeah,
laminated.
I need to ask JJ a question before we vote on.
Well, we don't have a second yet, so we're
and
not.
Mary said,
Oh, Mary seconded, okay, I was writing, sorry.
it's okay.
Okay, yeah.
And,
so,
so this could count as the discussion step
Yep,
in the
thank
process?
Well, JJ, I'm working with Morale Printing. They do have a provision for nonprofits. Do you have a nonprofit account with them?
We're
Well,
hoping
they're
to.
ready to go. The person who handles that account setup will be in Monday and can process the form. So you save tax 9% if you go with nonprofit status. To address Joe's question about paper, I would point out to you that not everybody in the general public knows QR codes. That's become quite an issue now. The changes at Social Security are considered obstructive to people who aren't computer literate. So you're going to encounter that too. You're going to need to take into account that not everyone knows how to use an iPhone that way. For example, the way my iPhone is set up, you couldn't use QR codes. But that's a factor of the access technology. So you're going to need to address that issue. I think we need to cover all channels.
So I don't
If
think,
the town has a sustainability policy, then do they have a limit on printing paper?
so my point was if we print locally, we can print 10 or 20 at a time, and we don't need to be spending money on setups and the higher quality, non-sustainable paper. It's not that you don't print, it's that you print locally versus professionally.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think personally, just like a initial run of maybe 10, just to see what the kind of reception is. We
Yeah,
can laminate if we wanted to, even just half of them, see what people think. And then if there is demand, if we do find out, oh, people really want these and do want to bring them back, this document, this
Exactly.
file isn't going anywhere, then we can discuss and potentially print out some more. But I
yeah,
think,
Mary's idea of a pilot, so.
Yes.
So the discussion is saying move locally
Mhm.
and then do a trial, a pilot, and then see if we need to do any more.
10's not much, maybe
Oh, yeah.
100, I mean.
Yeah, but I mean, I can do 100 on my laser printer in 5 minutes at home
Exactly.
and the quality is beautiful, right?
Um,
I mean, my husband uses this in his law firm and it is more than acceptable to the US Patent and Trademark Office, so, you know. I'm happy to donate 100 sheets of paper and some toner, right, and give it, if the town doesn't have that right now. No,
Which we do.
Yeah,
Our copy
exactly.
machine is
Exactly.
very fast.
Exactly.
We would just need help with folding,
Mhm.
and that's it.
Mhm.
And I think,
Fold as you go.
Yeah,
yeah, we could have stacks at both museums, and if you're
Mhm.
if you're there, just fold a few.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor then,
But let's make sure she understands
And-
where we are with this
Yep.
conversation.
yeah. Or,
I've been updating her, but I haven't heard back, so I don't know.
Okay, I'll let you finish.
yeah,
I know it doesn't pick up well.
Jill, would you repeat the motion, please?
Yes, the motion is to determine if we do a local print to
For
pilot usage
for zero.
for $0, or we proceed with a professional print at $300 to $500.
Okay, so there's two choices in there and the probably should only have one.
Okay, so then the motion is, do we proceed with a local print and test?
Is that acceptable, Mary, to you as the
Oh, yes,
seconder?
that's fine. Sort of stressing that the test, that we could go farther if we needed, but meanwhile, we're saving a lot of money and paper.
Okay, so the motion is to proceed with local production of the trifold and an experimental pilot.
Mhm.
And then there's a whole separate
And then-
issue on the
Yeah.
laminating and all that sort of stuff. Okay. Are we good? So,
Let's make sure she's up to speed so she can
but
Oh, she's still reading.
she's talking.
I'm just clarifying to her what local print means.
town
Good
copy.
idea.
Yeah,
Town copy.
the town office printer.
Yes. Which it's nice,
Yeah.
really nice. It does a great job. Even has a little sheen to it.
And you can get different paper, you don't notice it.
That's true too, yeah.
Yeah, you can get like the semi-gloss paper, and then when the toner hits it, it looks really nice.
Mhm.
And you can still get acid-free recyclable versions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She would like to see a sample.
Handbook,
No.
No, sorry. Maureen would like, it says, may I see a sample?
Not today.
Today.
It would just
or
be a
sample.
printout from the town copier
Yeah.
of what Dalton has designed.
And I'll make those necessary edits and include the credits and the town logo and everything, and then we can get that at least printed.
And I will say honestly, this is exactly what we're doing for the Air Force Academy right now. We're replacing their paper maps. I don't know how long ago they created these maps. They're out of date for their driving tour. There's someone that had printed tablets, so they're pull-off tablet style maps that they hand out to all the guests. We're updating that map right now. We're putting a QR code on it. And put it, their driving tour is already on their website. And we are giving them in a format just like Dalton's created, where they can update it when they need as
Mhm.
things change on campus.
Yep.
And print as they go from their visitor desk.
Interesting.
Mhm.
All in favor of the motion for local printing, say aye.
We have to make sure
Aye.
she's done.
Doug is Maureen.
Yeah, sorry, she's still, she wanted to know who was folding. I told her committee or volunteers. She wanted to know the schedule. I said as needed.
I'm happy to fold as well.
Yeah, we're all
Yeah.
happy to. Oh,
I mean, I've done this before. It's so easy to fold, like when you hand it out, it's like, you want one?
Yeah.
Here you go.
I'm gonna be sitting here.
Yeah, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed?
Uh,
Okay, the motion carries then, we'll
I don't think.
run
yeah,
the
it's
Wait,
expenses.
no, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Larry, she hasn't
That was
voted.
not a I, that was a. I'm waiting to hear from Maureen. She may be
Okay.
opposed. I'm sorry.
Okay.
She says we do the tricolor local, but keep professional as option.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes,
Sounds good.
We agree.
yeah. If there's a lot of demand with the pilot, then yes,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what,
and
All right.
I know Maureen likes dates, so I think we revisit it in August, because by then we've had the spring walk. We've had 3 months on the website, and we've had the 4th of July festival at Community Park. So put it in August for discussion.
for
is
the,
that-
agen-
yeah,
for the
that-
agenda.
For the agenda in August, yeah.
Let's let her know.
Okay, then the next,
Hang on, Larry.
Yes. 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 If, as I stated, yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
then the next item is the affiliate network membership with History Colorado, which I believe is going over to JG
And Mary,
and Mary.
Yeah, this was a link from Gigi at Louisville Museum. I think it's $1 a year for small museums to have an affiliate membership with History Colorado. And then if you're an affiliate, you can go on to they're having a series of webinars for $25 each. There's one in May on storing hazardous materials. This came up because I asked Gigi about the lice powder and things like that we have at Grasso. Anyway, so I thought that definitely the $1 a year, I thought we could just manage to afford that. And then
Yeah.
investigate more of the training materials History Colorado has to share.
Mary, did they say if the webinars are available for replay? With the
I
membership?
don't know. I do not know.
Okay,
So,
just curious.
yeah.
good luck.
Yeah, because a lot of times if you're a member, you can replay them.
Yeah, let me make a
You have
note.
ongoing,
I mean,
continue
if we
to learn,
decide,
you come up with these ideas, yeah.
if we vote to belong, then we can get more particulars too.
This is also the organization that has collections, traveling collections available, and if you remember, they're at discounted rates, and is one of the options we're exploring for a Native American interpretive exhibit to be able to rotate through.
And their membership fees are based on organizational budget.
At the moment,
Right now, but I think that's why ours is only $1.
yes.
That's it?
They said for the moment, but that could always be revisited, so it's better to lock in while we can at that rate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's ran through History Colorado. JJ, I gave you the woman's card at History Colorado that runs that program. I don't remember her name.
Yeah, I still have the card.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so for a $1 membership, what do we get?
A lot.
Access
It's access to,
to webinars and ongoing education
yeah.
and traveling exhibits.
I motion that we approve a dollar budget
Yeah.
to have a membership with this organization.
That's gonna be a fun credit card to see.
I know.
$1.
The processing fees on the credit card. are gonna be more than the card.
I'll second if no one has.
Was there a motion?
Scott made it.
Oh, okay, sorry. So Scott moved to do what? I'm sorry, missed.
I made a motion to approve a $1 budget to, join the organization. Mary, can you remind me of the formal name?
It's the affiliate
Anyways,
network.
being an associate of History Colorado, that's,
Affiliate network membership with History Colorado.
Okay. And so was there a
Mary already
second?
seconded it. yeah.
Mary seconded.
Okay.
And again, we need to make sure Maureen is
Yeah.
aware, so she can vote.
Okay, so
We need to wait for Maureen.
Maureen's ready, well, she probably is not yet.
Maureen is voting aye.
Okay,
Oh, she's voting not, okay. Okay, everybody else then, everybody in favor, say aye?
aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Well, we're just throwing away the money today, yeah?
And then JT, I have a question then. Let's assume this gets processed. And then we'll need to find out, and do we need to vote every meeting for if there's a future webinar that we want to be part of for $25? Do we have to vote for that each time, or what's going to be our process? Scott, maybe you know more about this.
Can we put a motion out to say we're going to fund up to $200 a year in webinar registrations?
Mary, is it $25 per person or $25 for us per webinar?
You know what? I do not know the answer.
Yeah,
I
let's
think
find out.
I think it's
Let's
per
see.
us, but
let's maybe get the membership up and
Yeah,
going.
and then see.
And then explore it a little further, and if we need to vote for any other separate expenses, let's do that next month.
Yeah,
Okay.
call.
Sounds good. So our next item is ask the article reprint, and that's to Maureen as well. This is the reprinting of an article I did back when I was doing the Superior Historian quarterly publication, and
That was 2008. Was that correct of that article when you did that?
the article in TED.
Yeah. I think it was
Seems like it.
2008, something like that, yeah.
It was.
And so Maureen is re-editing, updating it, is that correct?
Yeah, and editing and taking out some of the stuff like the listing who was on the historical commission and things
May
like
I
that.
fix that is yes, well, here is my concept. We take Larry's article from 20 years ago and do a few updates. Then we do print in-house. We have it as a handout. If a visitor asks for more, it wasn't the purpose of the brochure to go in depth about Ted's life and accomplishment, but Larry's article did discuss it. So we would have that. Then I also created a timeline of historical events that Ted saw in his life, so that if the reader says, well, what is the Battle of Naples, or what was the invasion of Normandy, we can have them that. Also, it explains more recent events like the demolition of the Harvest House. In Larry's article, he refers to things that we natives automatically recognize. The Harvest House, or the tip of the Union Student Center down at the Auraria campus. But someone new to the area would be totally at sea. The Harvest House was demolition last August, so we have a second handout that we can do in-house too. Have them there so the docents can access them. if the visitor wants more details, we could do another pilot with them.
I'm confused. I got lost on links to the Battle of Normandy.
She has a reprint article and then a timeline. And so if you're reading it, Ted talks about in the Battle of Naples, and the timeline has the Battle of Naples on it.
Well, I for one agree with Maureen that we have information available and it'd be easy if it's assembled already to do a print, so it's on hand. But in the long term, I'm kind of interested in exploring how we could do this, especially maybe the article. Like Dalton, with your familiarity with how the line screens, we're gonna have a second line screen somewhere, right? Is this something we could turn into more of a multimedia thing where we get Larry or someone recording and it's something that people could play, et cetera, while they're there at one of the museums?
Definitely think so. I think there's a lot of options that we can use with this, and
Right.
yeah, having like at minimum a voiceover kind of narration of it could be good.
But I agree with Maureen right now that if we're able to have more information on hand and to discuss with people, let's just do it. It's simple.
But would it be more of a docent page? It wouldn't be a handout, right? Or I think it's something about a handout.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Or is
about
it a docent page for you all to
So
share?
I think the timeline and et cetera is more of a docent page if there's more questions.
Mm.
But the article itself, if we have them available and people want to take it and read it off site, that's fine with the simple town printout, right? But again, it's like more of a pilot. Again, I'm not familiar exactly on what the timeline, et cetera, is. I'd like to see it, but if that's a docent page, it's easy enough.
And maybe, I don't know, maybe she should send it out to everybody. Did she send?
Oh, it's for the visitors, you can give it to the visitors
Yeah.
if they ask.
Well, that sounds like something.
That sounds like handing out
It sounds
paper.
like we're handing out paper again and like we're trying to become a world history expert, not a
No,
superior.
The timeline is just supplementary information, and especially for like younger people that don't understand broader historical events. But I would like to see it too, to understand it better.
Yeah.
But the article to me is the no-brainer part.
Uh-huh.
And having extra copies of articles because we don't have other media already set up. But I think we should explore setting up other media, but having the article available, I think is easy and a good idea. We have more materials.
It seems like the article in the timeline could be an on-demand printing kind of thing too. Which
But we don't have a printer on site, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's
well,
what I'm saying, is
keep
like
10
a few
of-
copies and.
keep 10 of them on hand or something like that.
Where do we start storing all these papers so they're easy to find? I feel like I'm becoming a bookstore. No offense, but I would go back and hit Google and explore it if I was curious, not be looking to the museum I was at to give me all this supplemental information. Maybe I'm missing
Maybe we
something.
should get rid of the books we have too.
No, I mean-
Available, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean,
Well, as Maureen is saying, though, some of us aren't as adept.
yeah, and I just like, but where do we, I mean,
I think this is a stopgap until we
Okay.
come up with a better
Okay.
solution.
and maybe I'm hearing too much of the rabbit hole of down to,
Yeah, I understand.
yeah, so.
But
I'm all for the article, it's the different battles and all that, where I'm like, what am I missing? So I've lost the point.
Could we see it just to
Yeah.
have additional discussion? I mean,
Yeah.
there's no urgency with this, is there?
No, I don't think so. Not to my knowledge.
I'd also know we have a lot of material online already, and a lot of people don't look at it, but when they come into the museum, part of our job is to help them better access information. And asking someone to look on their phone or go home and look on a
Yeah.
computer while they're at the museum is not really the way to go. Having something to discuss with them is a little simpler. And ultimately, I would like to work and make better use of our Lion screen for some of this information so that people.
I like the screen idea,
I
I
do
guess
too.
that's great,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think that's a really good idea.
Yeah, I've
But-
seen that in museums where there's like a timeline running across the bottom for certain events and then up top it's the more relevant things, so you have
Yeah,
context and you can kind of scroll through.
Which is very nice, but
Yeah.
right now we have this article, Maureen is pointing out it's a good article and we're underutilizing it, let's use it better.
so can we get a scan of the article emailed out this week, so we're,
Don't we already have that in the past email?
I don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't know what version. We're on.
Did you scan it and send it to Maureen? Is that how we got? it
Yeah,
to her? Yeah.
but I think the group is asking to see her updated version
No, I
before
haven't seen
we
that either.
vote on anything.
Yeah.
And I think also, at one point, I think I remember you all talking
Oh,
about,
not with me now, but I can send out copies through email. I can show you the drafts I have. How many people want to see them?
just send it to all of
I think
historic.
everybody, yeah.
But you all had talked about potentially having a binder or a book that people could look through.
Yeah.
I think I remember that. at
Well,
some
then
point.
I'll show you the package I put together. I can get it to you on Saturday. I have appointments this afternoon.
No big rush, I think, so.
Yeah, please, no rush.
So then, shall we table this until people have a chance to see the, product, because we're getting close to 11:30 here.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, and, Maureen has the right at 12 o'clock.
Yeah, so
Okay.
David, if you could let her know it's a tabled item.
And when I did that article, it was done in Publisher, so getting it into some other format's been part of the
Yeah.
challenge, I think.
I got it into Word and
Did
that's
you?
what I sent her. Yeah.
Okay, well, great. Okay, the next item is the fall program planning. And I sent out an email once saying that we had the a lead to a fellow who has a program on the 10th Mountain Division, which trained up on Camp Hale up on the flanks of Tennessee Pass. And there seemed like it was not exactly it was kind of a lukewarm response, I thought. So I thought some people thought it didn't have anything to do with Superior, but we've had other programs in the past that were not directly connected to Superior, like the Women's Mining Hall of Fame, for example, and
Well, the climbing of Mount Everest and
yeah,
some of those were extremely interesting. I thought, I don't know if it has to do with Superior. I was interested in what you had.
so
Yeah, no, I'm a big supporter of the 10th Mountain Division. I think that idea would be a great one for a fall program, even if it isn't Superior specific based.
I think it's a good book,
a good
a
what?
good book.
We had talked, we had talked last meeting about perhaps having something to do, with, Right Relationship Boulder with the Indigenous link. And since, is it October or November? Anyway, it's getting near to the month where it's the Indigenous, recognition month. Anyway, that's what I had just come in that I'd wondered if maybe we could wait on the 10th Mountain Division and take advantage of the right relationship Boulder program idea about the indigenous background and the links that we're trying to build. I'm not
Okay,
very clear,
opinions?
but I'm not violently opposed to the other. I just thought the indigenous link, and since Right Relationship Boulder already has a program, I thought that might be worth exploring as well.
Yeah, I agree with that too. They both sound good to me, so I don't know if we should put it to a vote or try one first and see what we, like your idea, see which speaker we can we want first, and then if they say no, we go with the other one.
And then if the one says no for fall, we bump them to spring.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sorry, do you mind clarifying what the Boulder County Indigenous link is?
It's called Right Relationship Boulder. That's just the name of the group. They came and spoke to our commission meeting a few months ago, and they just, well, it's just one of the groups that's trying to recognize and affirm the indigenous folk who lived here before. Scott, come out because you're more.
That's great. I don't think
More
it's too
than I
far off. I just didn't I didn't catch the reference because I wasn't at the last meeting. Thank you.
That's just fine. No problem. Okay, so, preference on which one we should approach first.
I propose right relationships first.
Anybody wanna see it?
Anybody's
All in favor of right relationships first?
This is not actually a formal vote, right? Are we just
Right.
looking for
Yeah.
consensus?
Yeah.
I supported it when we suggested it in the spring. I still support right relations.
I can reach out to Right Relations too and see their availability for the fall.
Okay, great.
Look, that's four of us.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
That's right. And so is it bumped to 10th Mountain Division to next spring then?
Well, depending on right relationships schedule.
If they're available, yeah.
So
And
Yeah.
the preferred Dalton, if you recall, I believe the preferred month is October.
Yeah,
Okay.
So who is doing the right relations outreach then on this?
Dalton.
Dalton still?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, then the next item is status of Grassland Park National Register application. Jill and Scott,
So
Scott and Jill.
I put the draft together based on the background we had. Larry and Scott have reviewed it. Scott, using his professional expertise, I don't know how to summarize all the information you had, was fabulous. Came to the consensus that we don't have enough substance yet. But I think there was a good 25, 30 documents Scott found that I'm going to write so he doesn't have to do his professional job in his free time. And then he's gonna review until the end, and then he's gonna review and revise. So right now, I am embarking on reading that.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll have a draft within the next 1 to 2 months, based on how much coaching I need.
Well,
Did I say that nicely?
yes, thank you for the politeness. We basically, we want to put a strong enough argument forward where it's a no-brainer that we have eligibility rather than asking
Yeah.
someone to review and
Yeah.
say, we don't think this is enough, bring us another rock.
Yeah, and then, 2 sidebar discussions that came out of that. One for the work session is to, and I'm unable to attend now if the date changed. So to bring up how we might approach a formal preservation plan. So we wanted to get that on the agenda for the work session on the 16th. And as a.
With the council.
With the town, because there is cost associated to that. So just to start getting it out there and see what it would look like. Because while they're not dependent on each other, they're very complementary.
So just to pause you really quick, so the dinners are a great opportunity to bring up budgetary requests for the next year.
Exactly.
So if you have a ballpark, that would be good.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on how much the town contributes based on how much consultant would be needed.
So
If there's even an appetite for it, I think the
Yeah.
first step is there an appetite?
That's
So
really.
that we could explore what a budgetary request would be.
you know, like I know roughly what a master plan for
Mhm.
arts would be.
Mhm.
And it is in my wheelhouse to do an arts and history master plan.
Okay.
So that's something that we could, combine. So I think having that conversation would be good. I know that they can run between 30 and 50,000 for a professional consultant to do all of that research and then pull it all together.
I don't think I think we're looking right now for a Grasso specific.
Preservation plan.
Yeah, which would be more between,
Which could be kind of a
Yeah,
drop down of
25,000.
a master plan.
Yeah.
Sure, because we also have a public art
Yeah.
preservation and maintenance plan. Not nearly as costly,
Yeah.
but I think that would be a great idea. I think all of it needs to be updated.
yeah.
Yeah, so we wanted to get that into the queue.
Okay,
And then the other thing was Scott uncovered some very fun stories in his research. And I'm gonna be taking notes for a possible, program in the future that I'm calling, Legends and Lore, the seedy side of Superior. Just a ton of fun little stories on like the original Phillips and it may be fact, it may be fiction, that's why we're calling it the myths,
There he is.
right? But it's something that was a really fun outcrop of the discussion we had that I'd never heard, It was, so check that as a teaser.
For the historic preservation plan, that's something we also might want to consider seeking a state historic preservation grant for.
Mhm.
and if we have that information, that is something I can pass to our grant writer. So if you have that information, let me know,
Yeah.
because that's definitely not my expertise.
And if we're serious about it, we might want to, so the State Historic Preservation Grant Fund that does a fall cycle and a spring cycle. And if we're thinking next year, we might want to seek it for a fall cycle if we can get ducks in a row fast enough.
Just,
Okay, so the next item is the
yeah, for the sake of time.
mid-month
Oh.
work session.
Okay,
And
what,
Barnes,
oh, sorry.
go ahead.
Yeah, relating to the barn work, because we want to, hook up that cedar and the, cultivator up onto the wall or something for display. And if the people agree with that, that's the way they should be displayed in the barn, we're going to need some hooks or something, to support them. So that's something we need to have prior to when we walk there. And then we want to request and see if Liam can come and do some muscle work there if he's needed, if you guys are out putting up stakes. I haven't peeked in the barn.
If there's time for all of that.
Well, I think we've decided to have the work session mid-month every month, right? So that's foregone. And then the barn work is separate from mid-month, right? That's just,
Yes.
it needs to be done or would like to have done. So
Oh.
Mary's suggesting hanging some of the equipment on the wall, I guess.
Larry, what we talked about last meeting was having the work session in May on the Friday before our walk. So it'll be a little earlier than mid-month. And then we can incorporate you guys going out and doing the stakes and doing whatever with the barn that would be the May's work session.
May 2nd.
So that was May 2nd. I thought we said earlier we were going to put a mid-month standing session on the books.
Yes, I think we need to clarify the May 2nd work
But-
versus what will be
Our ongoing
become the
mid-month, yes,
ongoing
yes.
mid-month.
Yeah,
Right. So are we maybe talking about it for May only, or May, not only, but having two sessions? A little bit to get the barn ready for people to look at on May 3rd. And then having our big session, getting things in archive boxes, etc., down at Asti, which is fine with me.
If we could potentially maybe or maybe not have the barn open on May 3rd. Just because we recently were doing a lot of clean out and rodent management. And I don't think that's completed. So let's
Oh.
make sure we're absolute, because it's multiple visits by the cleaning crew and the exterminator, so it's not just a one-time thing, and I've been checking on it, and I don't think we're completely done, if you get my drift.
Yeah, I
So I personally would prefer that we do not open the barn for May 3rd.
I would agree with that. I think there's a lot of issues, not just that.
Okay,
Yeah, and there's
I
also-
was, I had
Go
just
ahead, Mary.
understood it was complete, that's all.
But I don't think we could, I think it's fine to potentially, get hooks and make plans for down the road, but I don't think we'd be able to pull all that together by May 3rd.
Right. We might want to, on a casual basis, two of us, without calling a work session, get that equipment out of that little back room at Grasso. Probably. I think they're sort of in the way. It's the feeling I get now with offices there. They sort of don't really belong.
Mhm. I think that's a great focus for May 2nd.
Yeah, just to carry them back over and, yeah.
Mhm.
And maybe get ideas how we want to hang them or whatever. Yeah. Okay.
Great.
Mary, do we need Liam for any of that? I know when you and I were moving stuff, he helped us with a few items.
Yeah.
I don't recall what's in the back room.
Yeah, I think we can get them ourselves, that little
Okay.
cultivator and that
Yeah.
cedar.
Okay.
And we do know, Liam, he's so helpful and it's great, but with pools opening
Mhm.
soon, he is assigned specifically to pools, and so I don't know what his
Right.
availability would be.
But it sounds
You're
like we don't
always
need it,
welcome
so.
to check with him, but yeah.
Yeah, it sounded like we're okay.
Okay, great,
Okay, so we're gonna have the work session on May 2nd, is that correct?
correct.
To do what now, again?
To work on the barn,
Oh, okay.
no,
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 To prep for the walk.
so just the regular work
prep for the
session.
walk,
Prep for the walk.
clean out the back room
Back
at
room.
Grasso.
And JG, if it's possible, soon, I would like to drop in and check the scanner.
I haven't gotten the software update yet.
Okay, that's fine. It does not fall under, let's see what we call it, important, not urgent.
And then are we going to have another, our archive box moving kind of thing, later in the month?
Yes,
Now, so just so I can get it on the calendar, when you say mid-month, is it a Friday or a Saturday?
It's always been Friday,
Friday.
hasn't it?
Is
Yes,
that what you want?
yeah.
Saturdays, yeah, Saturday would work too.
Fridays?
Friday works better for me.
Me too.
Because if I do ongoing,
What about the second Friday of the month ongoing, since this is the third Friday of the month?
second Friday of the month,
Sounds good. And this is always, those who can come, and those who can't.
yeah,
Yeah,
and we
Yeah.
can always cancel if no one can come.
right.
because
Yeah.
this May 16th is the middle of May too, so.
But it also is the next meeting.
Next
so,
meeting, yeah.
That's why I just went with this, a rolling second.
Okay, so where do we stand on this then? We're gonna have a work session on May 2nd, and that's the only work session for May.
And it sounds like it's at Grasso. Correct?
Yeah.
But you two are gonna split off over to ASTI to work on scanning potentially, is that right?
Yeah,
Could,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay,
and then, so we're not having one in May, an additional one?
I thought we were
Are we gonna do May?
9th. To
So
make it
May
archive
2nd,
so May 2nd is,
and then the May
Block
9th starts.
May
the-
9th is our archive.
But May 9th starts the regular
Yes.
second Friday of the month.
Yes.
okay,
Okay, so. I'll try to email that out just as a reminder too.
okay,
Okay,
And that way, Sue, if it's not ready the second, if the work order doesn't come through,
Yeah,
we can do it the 9th
Right.
easily. Yeah. That may just even be easier.
yeah.
Okay, the next one is the May 3rd open, museum's open and the historic walk. I've got a little difficulty on that day because our older daughter and husband and another couple are coming in on the 2nd. And they're going to a Red Rocks concert on the 3rd. So then they're going back to Illinois on the 4th, so it's having a blitz. So I wanted to spend some time with them too, but otherwise for the opening, we do the regular scheme, seems to be working pretty well. JG, did you get that other sign?
Yeah, that's in my staff updates.
Okay, and so I guess what I'm getting at is I don't know if I'll be able to spend, how much time I'll be able to spend at the museum. Of course, I'll be primed and ready to go for the historic walk. So I may not arrive till after lunch or something.
Okay.
That sounds workable.
Okay,
I think the rest we talked about.
yeah, I think so. Okay, so staff update.
Okay, your budget report was emailed out to you. It's also on the back of your agenda. Just let me know if you have any questions. There's not a lot of activity on it, but it sounds like we will have more upcoming. I think everybody got the email from Michaela about the council dinner changing to June 16th. Hopefully everyone can make that date.
I had a question on that. If you looked at her attachment, got into the attachment, why did they have all those names they had invitees, and then it said historic, and then under that, it had a whole bunch of our names as optional. What optional? I didn't know what optional meant in that context.
I don't know.
It's just the style of Outlet, what Outlet does.
I don't think
Yeah.
it,
You can
It's-
attend or not.
yeah, I mean, it's not, we can't require you to come because you're a volunteer.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but they were listing only some of the
That's
names.
just the
as
way
optional.
Outlook does
Yeah.
it. It's just the way Outlook is
Yeah.
formatted. That's just how it does it. It's
Oh, okay.
not anything that.
Okay,
Michaela
I
did.
just didn't know what that
Yeah.
meant.
It just means there's 2 lines in Outlook and.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like if you, since you and Wally share an email address, you'd show up as one, even though you're 2 people. It's just,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, anyway, just for time. So please mark your calendar, let me know. I know for the most part, the dietary needs for this group, but if you would like anything above and beyond, I think we have vegan and gluten-free. If there's any other information that you want me to share for the dinner, but we will need to get, not an informal agenda and, some potential budget requests put together. And I think that would be a great agenda item for next month. If everybody's okay with that?
Yes.
The status of the minor memorial and statue research. So as everybody knows, the base was put in last year. The plaques were installed recently. One of them was a little crooked. And I had the company come back and they completely redid the hardware. The hardware that came with the plaques really wasn't the best, and we think that's why it shifted. And this amazing sign company that we used came back and just replaced all the hardware and really did a great job. Everything's level and looks good. So the only thing we need to do is put these little rosettes in there. Looks really pretty, and we'll do that soon. I am doing research on the approximate cost for a bronze life-size statue of a miner. That's the third and final component to the minor memorial. We currently have $35,000 that was approved in this year's budget, but that is probably only half of what it would cost. And so it could be that that is one of your budget requests for next year, the other half. I could, on your behalf, negotiate a statue getting into the works with 50% down and the other half paid next year. That's a potential, and that's not unheard of. Otherwise, you would be asking for the entire amount in this budget year, which I honestly don't know if the town has.
Yeah,
So it's something we can talk about down the road, but I'm hoping to have price quotes for you by next month. Okay?
yeah.
Veteran involvement with historic and the 4th of July. This is something that Wally had brought up after attending a veterans group meeting here at the community center. And the group talked about the potential of local veterans riding in the back of the fire truck. And Michaela thought that was a wonderful idea. She helps to organize the 4th of July parade. And I don't know if you got my email, but she thought this was a great idea. So I think any other details you would have, that would be a great thing for us to work through.
Now, I have a question on that. Did the town give us any restrictions on the people riding in the truck? I think we had talked, or I had suggested about 4 people back there so that you have 2 on each side, but it's not crowded. Is that permissible?
I would think so, and I think if any details that you have, just go ahead and share with me, and I think we can get a conversation with Michaela and get all those details ironed out.
One in the cab.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess Matt's still gonna be driving on the 4th. We could probably do the 5th one in the cab if somebody wanted to do that. And then I was wondering if we were also at one time talking about doing that in Louisville for the Memorial Labor Day. Is the town gonna be okay with that also?
We would have to figure that out as far as
Yeah,
driving and everything.
because when I bring this up a week from this coming Sunday, you know, they will have to understand that they have to get to where the fire truck is and ride in it, and then their transportation after that is theirs also. So I thought, well, if we're gonna be okay with this, then we need to think about if we get the banner made up for the side of the fire truck that says, unless we still have one, Historical Commission, and then an extra one for Superior Vets. And I'll bring that up, and they sounded like they were very interested in that the last time I brought it up, but I need to make sure that they're gonna follow through on that. And if we don't know for sure, then we don't wanna spend the money for the banner.
Okay. Should we just have this as a standing agenda item for the next couple months, just to get the conversation going?
Yeah, we can, because I need to get more clarification this next week.
Okay, great, thank you, Wally.
Do we have a banner that we put up for 4th of July in our pop-up? We used to.
I don't know where it is. I know we have a flag, feather flag. I've got it. I'll put a note to see if we still have that banner.
Did we have it last year on 4th of July? I can't
I
remember.
remember. Scott says
I
no.
thought we did, but
I
I
don't remember any banner.
Yeah, I don't either, not on the site of fire.
oh, okay.
Another thing I brought up is perhaps, on the 4th, fire truck goes up to hang the flag and do all that. At the very end of that, mention the vets, Superior Vets,
Okay.
not necessarily by name, but just Superior Vets.
Okay. Great idea.
Good.
I'm gonna pop off of my little list here just for a second. I did get the sandwich board signs, I did get the inserts printed, and I did get a hand truck. They're all outside my office, it's a little crowded, but I didn't wanna move anything until I knew where you want them. Do you want them at Asti or do you want them at Grasso?
And what excuse me, we're looking at is that we have 2 signs put out by Asti and only 1 by Grasso. So the thought was to have the second one at Grasso put out on
Well, I
We'll
bought
keep track.
two, so do you want me to drop one at each museum?
Did you get 2 new ones?
I got 2 new ones, yes.
Yeah. What do you think? I think so.
Where do you want the hand truck?
Grasso.
I'm gonna pass this lock down, I got new locks to potentially put on the barns. The ones that are currently there are kind of worn out, and I think everyone's having trouble seeing numbers, and myself included. But please look at this and make sure that this is okay. If it's still kind of too small, let me know and I can look at other locks. We already mentioned the barn clean out. I think once,
This is long.
is it? Okay, good. And I think last, I was just gonna, I think we already actually talked about the, Catherine helping with donations, and Jade as a volunteer is, we're still in the works on that.
Yeah, with Catherine, I think she and I are going to finish up Jim Bennett's donations. And then I don't know that we need her anymore on the donations.
But we'll need her for
We will
catalog
need-
later.
Yeah,
right?
what's more important is that she does and learns the cataloging. So
Absolutely.
that's kind of what,
And
my
that's
thought
something
is-
I would train her on later.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's where we really will need her.
Who
So-
is Catherine, sorry?
Catherine,
So Catherine works at the community center. She's a guest service associate.
Okay.
And she has an interest in history. She has a internship at History Colorado. She's been helping just a little bit with
Yeah.
donations,
Yeah,
but the bigger scope was to
Okay.
help with cataloging.
Yeah.
Jade is different.
Jade is a
volunteer.
high school volunteer.
Correct.
Intern. Yeah, and I was thinking Catherine Barr.
oh,
And that's where I was getting
Oh,
all
I'm sorry.
confused. I'm like,
Catherine's gonna volunteer for it?
I'm like, wow.
You wanna see if she wants that last brownie?
Actually, we still have a lot to be accessioned after
Yes, we
the
do.
Jeanette stuff is done. So we could still continue using Catherine for that too.
Yeah, it all depends how many we have. I need to talk to Jill and Susan because like I said, it doesn't work to have more than 2 people doing that.
Do you wanna let her know her ride is not here? He was gonna come back here to get her. Do you wanna,
He's not here at the room anyway, yeah. But no,
tell her to
He might be
stop?
coming right now, actually.
Okay.
Are you coming?
never mind, Jim.
Oh. Oh, not yet.
Oh,
Not yet.
never mind.
Nope,
Never
I'm
mind, never
sorry.
mind, never mind.
Yeah, Mary, you're correct. We do have a lot to accession yet.
Yeah.
Because I've got pages in the book that haven't been
Okay.
accessioned yet. I've got donation sheets that are not done.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to finish with Catherine was Jim Bennett's stuff.
Yeah. But if we've got her availability, we can use it.
I think finishing Jim Vanessa would be a good idea, Karen. There's so much little stuff
Yeah,
involved with that.
yes.
There we go.
Okay, is there,
And I think that's really it for me. Go ahead, Larry.
I'll send an email updating on our conversation with Jade at the last work session. Honestly, it's harder for me to compose an email than it is to discuss it at these meetings.
Yeah, but, I mean, I think if everyone's okay with just a minute or two, do you wanna just quickly?
Yeah, so me and Dalton were able to talk to Jade at the last museum open. And she's interested in working on one of the indigenous interpretive pursuits. We let her know that's entirely conceptual and we need to put together just a brief plan to task out what she can help with on that. My first thought on that is to is to task her with, gathering information on the two different concepts, basically two concepts we have out there right now are what collection does the affiliate network have that we can rotate through, and two, what in-house materials could, for Native American stuff, could we develop, including the ultimate step of coordinating with some tribes on content for that. And so those would be first steps, but she has availability. I think she's getting a little antsy on how long this is taking us to set her up on anything months later, and she's about to head into her summer season. So after we get some of the paperwork process, I'd like to know if me and Larry working with her, with 3 people, would that count as a meeting, or would it just be me and
We
Larry?
can switch it over to you and Dalton, if you'd like.
Well, Dalton just happened to be there to talk to her.
Oh,
I don't know if Dalton, if you wanted to be involved with this further or not, he just was available at the time. Larry was pulled off the deal with another guest. So,
Do you have a preference, Dalton?
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Larry?
fine helping however I can. I do think, I mean, firstly, has Jade sent over any sort of like times or availability for her?
She has, and I can share that with you.
Okay,
I think just for the sake of time, if we can identify Scott for sure, and either Larry or Dalton.
yeah,
Because
that
if it's 2, then we don't have to worry about meetings.
okay, that's what I wanted to make sure, is that Jade would not count as
No,
a reach.
but if we have 3 commissioners, then that's, so Dalton or Larry.
Well, Dalton's got a closer relationship in terms of age. She might.
I wouldn't go
enjoy
that
it.
far, Larry.
Besides-
She's not that young.
Yeah, but that works with me.
A lot
Okay.
closer than me, anyway.
So I'll send you the background check paperwork that we have to do since she's under 18.
Okay,
And then just so we can move forward, and I'll share her schedule with both of you.
And then, once that paperwork's through, I'd like to set up a means of communication with her and set up the communication basis. But I'll still send that email that I owe, but it's already been almost a month and I haven't composed that email about the plan and steps that we discussed with her at the last museum opening. Dalton.
Great.
sounds good.
Okay.
I'm happy to help out with Jade, but I think she might be more tuned into somebody other than a gray bearded loons there.
And thanks everyone for staying the 5 minutes extra for that. Leaving me till the end really speeds up the conversation.
You trying to say you're a geezer?
No. I don't think I don't even need to wear a sign that says geezer. I think it's kind of obvious. So, anything else for the good of the order?
Just real quick, the Superior Folklore is not under copyright.
Hmm.
And, even if it was, or it comes up, given the dates, we're under common law, so we can reuse and reprint.
That's what we wanted.
Yeah.
Perfect. We're checking
Got the
that.
official ruling from the
I got
judges.
the official lawyers reading.
Great. Well, given that, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Moved by Dalton and seconded by Scott. I'd like to thank Jill for helping out with Maureen and Susan for helping out with the minutes and Doug for helping out with Maureen too. And I think we're good for this meeting. Thanks very much. We're adjourned.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good one.
JG, do you have 2 seconds?
Yeah.